I hear you're a racist now, Father.
What?
How did you get interested in that type of thing?
Who said I'm a racist?
Everyone's saying it.
We will finally honour what take back control meant and begin to choose who comes here so that migration works for our national interest. That is what this white paper will deliver. Lower net migration, higher skills, backing British workers.
Did you see that? Did you?
Good evening, people. How are we all brewing this Tuesday? Welcome to the Brews at 10 on my left eye. I'm your host, Lefty. You're all very welcome here this evening. We've already got a pretty lively chat. Great start. Nina Sadie, first in the Divinia, great to see you as well. We've got Chris von Kochschlapp. Great to see you. Difficult to say that name with a straight face. Please do smash that thumbs up button, people. Yeah, let's get broadcasting, let's get this stream out there. Want to kick off with some plaudits, first of all, in that little extended introduction on tonight's stream. Cold War Steve, have to give credit to Steve for the picture. That's the the one of Starmer at the lectern, and it was just let me make sure I don't get it mixed up. Phil from EastEnders, not Grant's. Phil, yeah, Phil, the Gammony, red-faced one, and then the agitator for that Father Ted Keir Starmer combo. It's funny actually, we were talking about Father Ted yesterday and Keir Starmer, and there we have it, another great one from the agitator at Agitate for Change. So yeah, credit where it's due. Just wanted to get off the ground and get that dealt with. Also, speaking of credit where it's due, Baron von Kochschlapp, thank you very much indeed for the 5 gifted memberships. Hope all 5 of you, all 5 of you, enjoy your perks. But I notice one of the recipients, quite a coincidence there, Baron, Spitfire Chef 821. Coincidence? Question mark. I can see a few other familiar names there as well, so great to have you back on the membership list. Which is incredible, I get to update the membership goal even prior to revealing it. So thank you very much for that. I'll get that members roster rolling in that case, and then we can reveal what that brings us up to. Current total is 100, of course. Baron, thank you very much once again for those 5 gifts. So these are all the latest members, hot off the press as it were. I had some gifts on yesterday's stream as well. Thank you very much for that. Thank you very much everybody who's renewed the memberships lately. Some of you have been with us for a very long time. I really do appreciate that. Some of you even since I first started live streaming last year, so Solidari-Tea, raising a cup to you right now. Need to keep hydrated. Well, we've all needed to keep hydrated today. It's been another hot and dry one up here in the north, in the mid-20s. It's been baking like. So yeah, stay fresh, stay hydrated wherever you are. There's other ways to support the channel, but you can join this list of members for just 99 pence. You can also use super thanks if you're watching back later. Super chats is also available on the stream as well. And we do have a buy me a coffee page. If you don't have the technical access to those, please do check out the link in the stream description and the channel description as well for the buy me a coffee page. Thank you very much, members. I will routinely bring in the chat and then we shall reveal the total. We're getting there, people. We are getting there. Thanks to awesome people like the Baron. So we're currently on 89 now. No, just actually, beg your pardon. It's actually the dreaded 88. Yeah, it was 83. When I came on stream at 5. Yeah. Thank you very much. Just 12 to go. So what's coming up, people? Trump's been over to the Middle East, of course. He's going to be doing this tour of the Middle East. Incredible. He won't be going to Iran though. I think that's pretty much been assured. A little bit about that. Going to be sort of catching up on other stories from yesterday as well. A few developments there. One of them's, well, at least one or two of them are particularly light-hearted. So we've got that. There's, well, quite a few things about Starmer on tonight's stream. There's been a backlash against his announcement yesterday, the immigration thing. Also the care sector as well. There's been an update on this incident at the house he used to live in. And it appears that there are no connections to... well, someone has been arrested in connection with that and other incidents. That's quite interesting development there. We've also got, it's, well, it might even be worth starting a new feature at this point, maybe just for live streams. It's another tisk. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, people. Another Tory has been embroiled in scandal and was today charged. Tisk. And also, there's a poll up in the chat as well, if you'd all like to participate in that. I'd like to know your feedback. So out of those three options, who will win the most seats at the next general election? Pretty straightforward, really. I was just going to go between the Green Party and Independents, but I did want to add a third option, as well as the fact that there's a long time between now and then, and to be fair, the Workers' Party of Britain came a close second in a few pretty clutch seats, as it were. So we'll see how things develop between now and then. The hyper end, that party started when George Galloway got involved, but I think he is still involved even though he lost his seat. However, if Galloway puts you off, then that's fair enough. But no, I think aside from that, they've had some pretty decent things to say. But that also brings me on to the Green Party leadership race. So it's all official now. I'll be catching up with that. Plus a few other bits and pieces, quite a packed show. Right, I'll just decide where to go to first. We've got some clips, articles, and a few other bits lined up. A bit lacking on other YouTubers' comedy clips tonight, but I've got some homegrown stuff to fill in the gaps. But for now, I'll just get straight into stories and whatnot. Well, let's check out the latest on this trip to the Middle East from Trump, I guess. And also, the gift slash, or is it a bribe, or whatever the hell it is worth $400 billion, this plane that's been given to either him or the US government, depending on who you believe, which is going to become the new Air Force One. doesn't reek of bribery. Oh no. Okay, let's go over and see what's happening, people. And then the details of this meeting, there's been an arms trade agreement as well. We'll talk about the rank hypocrisy of that, as well as a bit about the plane. But this deal is said to be worth $142 billion. That's £107 billion in the defence agreement. America have called it the largest defence sales agreement in history. But then again, they do have a bit of a track record for over-the-top statements and hyperbole, don't they? I did watch some of the speech live as it was happening. It was most nauseating. Very, very gratuitously sycophantic. Although you can say that that's probably to be expected when you go out there anyway, and when someone's given you a $500 million, or almost $500 million jet, so that's just over £300 million. This gift, this donation, I mean, how are they going to try and spin it? So why don't you tell them about your friend Netanyahu, you know, while you're out there? How, you know, got really close ties. And he's going around and he's trying to play both sides in the Middle East situation. It was just a matter of weeks ago that he was shaking hands with Netanyahu himself in the Oval Office, wasn't he? And apparently sanctions have been lifted in Syria while all this is going on. I've just noticed that on the live feed. It says Trump's going to go meet the Syrian leader tomorrow. Next stop on his little tour there. And they've taken a shitload of McDonald's with them. Jesus Christ. For real? BDS much? There is a little bit in the report about Gaza here. It says that there was a push to finalise a defence pact which included a normalisation of relations between the kingdom, that is the Saudi kingdom, and Israel. But it says it's not on the agenda as the war grinds on. During his nauseating speech, I remember him mentioning Trump, that is, how much he apparently loves peace and so on and so forth. But I think if you're into peace, you don't do record arms deals, do you, with some very morally questionable people. Another thing I noticed, it was actually just towards the end of the speech, because I do I must have watched perhaps 15-20 minutes of it, and then it ended, and of course we all know how Saudi Arabia persecutes homosexuality. But at the end of Trump's speech, he played YMCA by the Village People, which I think he uses a lot on his rallies and stuff. I'm pretty sure I've seen footage of his his rallies where, you know, that he always does that same dance, that little thing with his arms that he does. I'm pretty sure. I remember seeing that. But to use that song in particular in such a country, I just thought it was a bit sort of bizarre. And then he fell asleep. Trump fell asleep while someone else was up talking. They must have just about pumped him full of as much shit as required to sustain him for the duration of his speech, and then once it wears off, there was a sort of single shot that was going around social media earlier, single uninterrupted camera angle of him kind of nodding off and then almost getting there and waking up a little bit again. Of course, if that were Joe Biden, they'd be saying that he was, you know, they'd be bringing up, questioning his state of mind. But I guess with Donald Trump, that does seem to be just a bottom line permanent thing anyway. No, I mention it. Just check. Oh, Davinia, you're getting in pretty early there with one of the suggestions for Brews at 10 the album. So quickly make a note of that one. And I'm just going to move this over a little. Sorry, it's cutting off the text a bit. Blah blah blah, yada yada yada. You know how it goes with him. I won't go through the full quotes. Just the last bit. We will work together, we will succeed together, win together, and we will always be friends, he says. And then as soon as the door closes behind them, you know, Benjamin, come in. We're going to work together and succeed together and win together and we'll always be friends. And Netanyahu leaves. And then whoever, you know, just a long chain of sworn enemies. All the way down the halls of the Oval Office. Okay, send in the next one. Or in this case, he's on tour. In a jet worth almost $500 million. Next stop, hypocrisy. Alighting at irony, Armageddon, neoconservatism, and general breakdown of society and climate in tandem. Thanks for riding the Trump Express. Or even the report mentions, I thought I was just being a bit, you know, even they mentioned that. Yeah. Although I did it properly, I named the artist as well. I guess the BBC couldn't be bothered. Please do keep up, you're getting the very latest here on my left eye. He says, scrolling through a BBC article. He did bring up the hostage release that we talked about yesterday. Blah blah blah, October 7th. And he's aiming to get $1 trillion defence budget approved. That's a staggering amount, people. It really is. That's half of the GDP of the UK. They, of course, spend the most on defence by far in the world. Not have the most nuclear weapons, though. That's still the Ruskies. And what's he trying to get out of all this? Because, of course, the Saudis aren't, stupid. They obviously know that the US has very close relations with Israel. I mean, you've got to remember about the industrial military complex here, people. It would definitely appear throughout history that some have put their perhaps political allegiances aside, or perhaps their political beliefs aside, personal beliefs, just on the back burner for a moment where money's involved, where they can wet their beaks a little bit, they can make something out of these arms trade deals. And so the fact that Trump is pretty much saying the same things to two nations who are more or less sworn enemies, although not actively fighting against each other, directly, that is. Where things like trillion-dollar military budgets are concerned, yeah, there's a lot of headway. It's been going on a long time, since the 1950s, more or less. After World War II, that's where they really started to get into it. That is the United States. So much of their economy being based on essentially warfare, fossil fuels, and catering to people who have poor diets, drive a car. Yeah. And then you're on the path to idiocracy, aren't you? A Wolf Pet, awesome to see you. Thanks for the heads up on the live chat as well. It should be refreshed now. Sorry, it does do that now and then. Oh yeah, and just finally, likewise, obviously Netanyahu will be aware that Trump's doing this as well. And you have to quickly bear in mind that they've sort of gone around Israel and Netanyahu on this recent hostage deal release, haven't they? In a couple of other deals, which Mark Austin pointed out, much to the disdain of Israeli spokes David Mensa, of course. The old, porcine-featured bastard himself. The angrier he gets, the bigger his nostrils get, and the more they flare up. And then he's literally spitting with rage as he shouts lies into the camera and tries to drown out Mark Austin. When Mark Austin shows up to the studio and it's, okay, what have we got today? It's like, okay, do this, and then da-da-da, and then you go to and then we've got the Israeli spokes in. You're going to interview them. It's like, oh. And then a big sigh. It's like, who is it? Please don't be him. It's like, it's Mensa. It's the only one that they'd send. And he gets paid to do that, That's his job. Put that to the ever-growing list of tragedies on this planet. The fact that David Mensa makes a living out of that. Graham Turner, great to see you. have another bit of a scroll down, but it says the accords have been met with conspicuous silence, according to the diplomatic correspondent Paul Adams. What do they want this equipment for, though? That's a lot. That's, you know, that's a big old chunk of change. $142 billion that the Saudis are spending on arms. What's this all about? Again, remembering the industrial military complex. Are the Americans just trying to stir the pot? Here, Saudi Arabia, have a look. How many times have we seen it? You know, the CIA funded and created the Taliban, as we all know. And then next thing you know, America are going attacking the countries that they funded and armed, and that's been going on for a very long time as well. Same with Iraq. That is Gulf War 1 and 2 prior to. The first one, Donald Rumsfeld, was in Iraq selling weapons to Saddam Hussein. Next minute, you know. The startling coincidence being that these countries just happen to have a vast amount of natural mineral resources and or fossil fuels. It's funny that, isn't it? A good point there, Graham. That is a lot. That's a lot of money. But there is this, of course, authoritarian element to the regime. You can't sing in public, I'm told. Please correct me if I'm wrong about that. I don't want to be doing a fucking Lee Anderson. Right, so you know what, and you know what else to do? I might be mentioning Lee Anderson later. He's done another one. Mr. Foot in Mouth Disease. Von Nackerizer. Nice to see you as well. But just back to that last point there. Could this actually potentially, be used to reinforce domestic control, domestic policing? This is one of those things that we'll have to sort of put the pieces together and take a step back from, look at on a macro scale once it's been to all of the different countries on this supposed tour that he's on. And then I guess we'll see where all the pieces are, but I do already have an inkling that one of the overriding priorities is going to be to try and ensure that Iran doesn't develop nuclear weapons or nuclear power. I'll leave that there for now. There'll be more developments when he goes around. Where did it say he's off to tomorrow? But I'll keep you posted on that. Other fish to fry tonight, people. There's a vegan option as well on my left eye, of course. Let's bring things back over to the UK now, and a few things to catch up with where Keith's concerned. Now, people, get your detective hats on. This is a hot case. Although the prime suspect may already be in custody. Let's see what's happening. So there has been an arrest. Apparently the police feel that the incident at Starmer's former residence is linked to other incidents in Islington. It turns out one of the vehicles that was attacked last Thursday, I think it was, which you can see in this freeze frame of the video there, used to belong to Keir Starmer. The house obviously used to be occupied by Keir Starmer. It's rented out now. I'm not sure if Starmer himself rents it out. Could be on Tony Blair's portfolio. Extensive property portfolio. How does someone on 80 to £100,000 a year have a few years in the job and then retire on tens, hundreds of millions of pounds? Interesting. Back to this though. So the suspect who's been arrested is only 21. Arrested in Sydenham, which is in the southeast, on suspicion of arson with intent to endanger life, and remains in custody, the Met said. Starmer's property, former properties in Kentish Town. They did a bit of vox pops there. Linda Perry, who's 80, described being woken up, said that you could see the flames without looking out of the window. You could hear two people shouting, "Fire, fire." They looked like food delivery men. As I looked out, you could see it lighting up the street. This is really unusual, she went on to say. You know, that's correct. People's front doors normally aren't on fire. That's the preferred status of front doors. Sorry, no, I'm not being cruel. A few more quotes from neighbours there. So that's interesting, obviously, the car. And this suspect is just 21. Not been named at the moment. Well, that's an interesting development. We've got Alwyn Hornsey in the chat as well. Nice to see you. Let's see where we're going to next. We'll go to... another development you'll remember, I think it was on Sunday's live stream, we were talking about these rumours that were going around about this bag that was on the table, or whatever it was, this thing was on the table during the Ukraine ceasefire meetings. President Macron of France couldn't wait to get this thing away. There's been a bit of a tongue-in-cheek development there. Andy Carter's in the house as well. Thank you very much for the gifted membership. Hope you're brewing well tonight. Thanks again. That means we can take that total up to 89, just 11 remaining people. We're getting there. We will succeed. So I'll have to be very clear. I'm not sure if I'll have to fill out a shitload of forms now on YouTube. But I'm just trying to cover my own back here. You never know. The following clip is CGI/AI. This is not the real Keir Starmer for anybody who might actually think that it is. But it's an update on that situation that I mentioned yesterday, so...
I would like to address the rumours of a certain meeting where a bag of cocaine was found before Emmanuel Macron, the Prime Minister of France, hid it in his pocket. Yes, we all did cocaine that day. And yes, we had a naked dance-off afterwards. This is how we do it in Europe. We like to sniff a little bit of cocaine, and then we just get naked and dance and rub up against each other and shit like that. It's fun, and we're all gay, so it's perfectly fine. Anyway, thank you, and have a nice day.
Once again, to be extraordinarily very, 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 very clear, that was AI, CGI. But very funny, wasn't it? When I first played it, when I first heard it, saw it, I thought, oh, this is actually like being addressed. He's gonna, you know, just basically come out and deny these rumours, whatever. And then it, obviously, a couple of seconds went by, it became obvious that it was an AI vid. It's like, what? I'm not sure who the original uploader is. Apologies, I can't give credit. I'll try and find out and then update the live stream description. Yeah. Okay, people. Might have even been risking my neck just playing that. Sticking with Starmer though, but the backlash against the recent cuts and the announcement on immigration yesterday, there's also been a lot of scrutiny about his choice of phrasing during parts of the speech, including words that more or less, almost word for word, repeats what Enoch Powell, far-right fascist, said historically in the past. Someone who tried to stir up xenophobia over the issue of immigration. Sound familiar? Yeah, so the phrase in question was strangers in our own country, which is almost in verbatim from Enoch Powell's Rivers of Blood speech, as it's now known. Strangers in our own land, I think, was his quote, but it's almost, directly word for word. It's not only a ridiculous thing to say, it's also ridiculous to think that nobody in the Labour press office or whoever this, whichever process, thought process, creative process led to it becoming part of his speech. Don't tell me that they didn't know about that, really. Come on. I think they knew what they were trying to get away with in using that kind of language. We all know who they're trying to appeal to with these policies. So I've come across a historical clip of Powell being interviewed on an old American talk show called the Johnny Carson Show. And Jonathan Miller was also a guest, but Miller does an incredibly fine job at coming back with what Powell's trying to say. He also does it very, very calmly, very sensibly, very logically. But it's all too familiar. That's the problem, people.
Nobody seriously imagines that if 2/5 of Birmingham consists of a first generation of descendants born here, of people from the West Indies, from Africa, and from Asia, there will not be a profound difference between that part of the population and the rest.
I think there may be a difference. In fact, there certainly will be a difference. Whether that difference is enough to promote anxiety, unless someone declares...
You think nobody would notice?
No, I think they'll notice, certainly.
Well, this is important. Obviously, you would notice. The thing is whether people are saying, oh, these people are your enemy. As Miller points out, negative tropes, xenophobic tropes, this kind of thing. That's the important part about what he's saying. Powell then interrupts here and tries to act as though all that Miller has said is that you wouldn't notice the different cultures that are in the area that you live that weren't there before, which is obviously a ridiculous way of trying to spin it and twist it. Sorry, it's a Dick Cavett show, not the Johnny Carson show. Bit of confusion there. The Dick Cavett show, it's there on the bottom right. Apologies. Miscrediting earlier.
The question about is whether they will notice with fear and horror unless someone announces to them that fear and horror are an appropriate response to such a fact.
I see. And you think that human nature is such that unless somebody referred to this, nobody would notice that their own native cities were transformed, that the white population was moving out and a different population was moving in.
I didn't say that.
Well, you think then that it would be noticed, but that it would not merely be tolerated, but would be taken as a desirable or acceptable development.
No, I didn't say that either.
Well, that is what you have to say. That is what you have to say, if this is not to be a problem.
No. You're simply putting words which you would find convenient in my mouth. What I said was that I didn't say that there would be no difficulties. Difficulties are in the nature of human coexistence. What I said was that the differences that there would be are not necessarily the differences which would excite fear and horror unless someone stands up and says that fear and horror are an appropriate response. Someone invested with the authority of public office. When you do that...
Yeah, again, a really good point, and obviously racism isn't natural. It is taught. It is a learned behaviour. Just while we're on the topic of the era of Enoch Powell, just going back to World War II, when African American GIs, infantry, first started to appear in the cities of Britain during World War II, the British public were very welcoming. And there wasn't this xenophobia, this rhetoric that we have now, unfortunately. But then it was the sort of the other yahoos in the infantry. Obviously there was still segregation at the time in the United States, and unfortunately African Americans were still having to fight for the rights as well. So very downtrodden. And they'd be whispering in the ears of British people, oh, you can't trust black people, so on and so forth. And that is exactly what Jonathan Miller is describing. That kind of thing. Yeah.
The charisma of your office and the charisma of your role as a politician will often convince people that fear and horror are an appropriate response if that is what is being told to them. It's what philosophers call a performative utterance. No doubt you're familiar with it. And social cooperation is a hard and a difficult thing. I feel that you would have done your duty as a politician, as an ethical politician, much more productively if instead of exciting the notion of future strife, you had encouraged the notion of future cooperation on the basis of understanding.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And that's why, there is a positive correlation, and I believe as well, causation between the far right and low IQs. And it's because, the first thing, well, certainly where culture is concerned, a lot of people who fall for this on the right are certainly uncultured, in the sense that you're not going to learn anything if the first thing that you do when you see a culture that's different, or you see people who have different coloured skin, is to label them as an enemy and start to attack them, ignore them. You're not going to learn anything from them. And that's one of the great things about global society, is our learning from each other, whether it's philosophical, whether it's technological, whatever it may be, that we teach and share all around the world, or that we should. That's to be preserved, it's to be encouraged as well. Because otherwise you're just heading down a one-way path, and it's not exactly going to be putting in applications to join Mensa anytime soon, that's for sure, ladies and gentlemen. Brothers and sisters, they, thems and comrades alike. So that's the end of the clip there. I'm guessing it's looking at the sort of production values, 1970s-ish, so a fair time after World War II ended. But there he was, still at it, decades later. But here we are in 2025, still having to put people who say the same kind of thing bang to rights. Well, we do our best, we hope. People are listening. Let's at least hope that the electorate wake up before it's too late, people. But just once again, that was Dick Cabot's, not, what did I say? Johnny Carson? I was getting my old-fashioned TV, American TV, all mixed up there. There were a few others as well back then. But that's way before my time. Okay. Moving on. Well, I say moving on. Do let me know your thoughts about that in the chat and in the comments if you're watching back later on. Just another reminder, people, please do smash the thumbs up button as well whilst you're here. I do appreciate that. Give us a share across your social media. Shout out to BTL Film Media for this mashup photograph. Pretty chilling, isn't it? Thought the Thatcher one was bad. I think this is right up there. Right up there. Welcome back, Nina Sadie. Yeah, it's fine if you're a bit tuckered out, yeah. Just chill out. So there has been pushback against this, of course. Somebody who needs no introduction mentioned this latest white paper that Starmer's put out. But he's also pointed out how this is going to affect the shortage that we have, shortage of staff, shortage of staff that we have in so many sectors in the UK, and another reason why it's heading in the wrong direction yet again, from the man who needs no introduction.
Could the Home Secretary explain why, in the introduction of this white paper, the language of Enoch Powell was used by the Prime Minister? There's been no speaking up about the enormous value of migration to this country that's kept our NHS running, our education service running, and so much more, and that there are already 130,000 vacancies in the care sector. Does anything in her white paper do anything to improve community relations or deal with the now labour shortage within the NHS and the care service, or is it all about trying to please these people who unfortunately sit in front of me?
Hey, this guy's pretty right on, whoever he is, whatever this dude's name is. No, of course, Jeremy Corbyn there. Great points as well. Just, I should point this out quickly, because this is a sort of mini soap opera in itself that's developed today. Just the very end of his comment there, who he refers to.
Service, or is it all about trying to please these people who unfortunately sit in front of me.
Well, it's the members of Reform who sit in front of him as well, isn't it? I think, you know, there's no harm in that. But apparently Lee Anderthal himself, the 30p Leicester, was in attendance. Obviously Reform not wanting to miss a chance this time to be there and talk about migration while the iron's hot. As well as essentially stirring up a load of baseless crap, Lee Anderson responded by ending his contribution with a suggestion that such and such should be deported, and also the member for Islington as well. So, making a ludicrous call that Corbyn should be deported. 30p, Lee Anderson. You're spot on, of course, JC. We'll be seeing him in another clip that I've got in just a moment, but we're gonna excuse me, put my teeth in. We're going to go over to Tisk now. Tisk. Patrick Spencer, who was, this is going to be a by-election now, has been charged over sexual assaults at the Groucho Club in London. Tisk. Can we see that? Can we get some tisks in the chat, people? Can we try and start this as a thing? Might work on a little intro bit for tisk. I need to go over to the screen, don't I? That would really help with the proceedings. There's the dirty bastard. Okay, what's he been up to? Let's tisk. Thank you, Baron von Cockschlap. Even Baron von Cockschlap is disgusted by this obscenity, and this is someone who just going from the name slaps people in the cock, although I might stand corrected. Anyway, no, this is actually, you know, serious. There are real victims here. Let's not try and make too much of a light thing about it, but yeah, seriously, tisk. Two attacks on two separate women in August 2023. This was before he was elected. The 37? He's only 37? This man is only 37 years of age. He's 37? Get out of town. Okay, well that's what, you know, it's like the dark side of the force, isn't it? It sucks your life, sucks the life out of you. So he's going to appear in court on 16th of June. These are just, he's not been tried or sentenced yet, I should point out. His lawyers categorically deny the charges against him. Another, it's like, do we barely get through a week before we hear about one of these? It's not just the Tories these days either, is it? Guitar guy, great to see it. Yeah, he looks like 45, 50, I don't know. Been a harsh 37 years. Maybe it's a rags to riches story. Though, I doubt it under Starmer. I'm just scanning. I would assume he's stood down for now, or been suspended or whatever. When you're being charged with these kind of allegations, surely. Yes, there we go. Conservative Party spokesman said Spencer had been suspended from the party following news of the charges. He's now listed as an independent on the UK Parliament website, but it says here as well, human flannel and watermelon eating champion contestant Sir Lindsay Hoyle, Speaker of the House, is conducting risk assessment. Because we don't want what started with Tractorgate, as it were, ending up with something like that. Of course, I should again reiterate that these are just allegations at the moment. He's being charged, though, which would suggest that there is at least some amount of evidence. There you go, the 30s. And this picture may not be from this year. This could be a 35, 36-year-old. If this is like his official picture, perhaps taken around the time of the election, when he may have been at least a year younger. Who knows? Tisk tisk. Brackets allegedly. Baron von Cockschlap. In case there is any doubt, any percussive genital action you partake in is purely consensual and largely fictional. Thanks for clearing that up with us. You're also not really a baron? Well, but I hope you're still a socialist. Dun, 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 dun. Revelation. Okay, going to skim through a couple of other bits now. Quick follow-up from story yesterday. Of course, I used that agitator clip which mashed up Father Ted and Keir Starmer at the beginning of the live stream. I did mention it was a coincidence that we mentioned Father Ted and Starmer yesterday as well. But there's been an observation here just following that story we were talking about. Co-creator of Father Ted, Graham Lynham, being charged with harassing an 18-year-old trans girl. This comment comes from someone on Twitter called Jordan at Gimme Your Crisps. But, well, I won't read it out. Just, no, I'll get it up on the screen first. Just a bit of a dig at Graham there. He looks like a beaver who made a wish to become human. I've seen another one where it's him wearing the t-shirt, the Daily Telegraph headline, but it's obviously photoshopped, doctored, whatever. Microsoft Paint. Whatever. And it is the headline is "My wife left me." It was like a beaver who made a wish to become human. Oh, the pillock. Wolfbite, is that actually the same MP who was suspended? That betting scandal, yeah, about when the election was going to be held. And I think, yeah, the bookmakers nowadays have all sorts of algorithms that can spot these unusual betting patterns and spikes and whatnot, you know. People don't usually go and put the life savings on certain events. Would probably be something fairly obvious. Yeah, and elections will come into that. But there were quite a few people. This was people who were connected. Obviously, they're Tories, so they are connected, but you know what I mean. Connected with Rishi Sunak. But was Patrick Spencer one of them? That's very interesting. Tisk. Again, tisk. That's a double tisk for Patrick Spencer in that case. Shame. Seems a ludicrous concept, I know, but it's almost as though people just get into politics for their own personal gain of some description. Right, people. Where can we go to next? I think. Let me see what I've got. Yeah, very quickly over this, and then on to matters in Gaza. It's just a confirmation, really. Something we all knew was pretty much going to happen. But the official announcement came earlier today that Zach Polanski is going to be up against Adrian. Oh, sorry, just sort that out. There we go. Lock that in. Right. Yes, Adrian Ramsey and Ellie Jones will be taking on Zach Polanski. They're the only candidates at the moment in the Green Party leadership race. So again, Ramsey teaming up with someone else, a male and female duo, co-leaders. He won't be standing alone. Some political commentators I know have said, and this is even coming from those on the left as well, perhaps on his own, he's his sort of persona, his vibe, is just a little bit too briefcasey or stiff. So he sort of needs someone else to back him up who's got a bit more energy. He had that with Carla Denyer, who probably did more of the TV appearances and stuff, and speaking in Parliament as well. Zach Polanski, at the moment at least, seems to be exuding quite a lot of energy. And he is slightly ahead in the polling as well. I think just bring up the margin. Just bear with me one quick moment. I'm pretty sure that good old Stats for Lefties had some of the latest figures up. What's happened to the funk? Just while that's loading up, I can see where people are coming from there with the Adrian Ramsey personality thing. Now, believe me, I would take a politician that was as dull as ditch water, that, you know, watching paint dry or watching grass grow would be more entertaining than watching them make a speech. But if they have the right policies, then I wouldn't really give a damn. I guess what's one of the most frustrating elements about Starmer's party is what they are doing, but also with a complete lack of personality as well. You know, we had the Johnson clown act, you know, the Alexander Boris de Faffel Johnson, Boris the Clown, that old act. We had that. We've had the batshit crazy, albeit brief, Liz Truss. And then dropping off sharply there with Sunak, obviously pretty much devoid of any personality himself. Didn't know the procedure for buying, what was it? A soft drink at a garage. That was it. No personality. That's correct. Just make sure that chat's running nice and smooth. Okay, stats and figures. Still close, but Zach Polanski, for now, seems to be the front runner. These aren't percentages, in case anyone's confused. It's weighted on a sliding scale based on endorsements. So 101 versus 95 at the moment. And again, just to remind viewers, I'm not actually a Green Party member myself, but if you're aware or you suspect that these are going to be the only candidates, let me know if you've heard anything in the chat or in the comments if you're watching that later. He's been very open about calling out certain things as well with that promotional video as well. Zach Polanski used some very on-the-nose language, calling out fascism directly, for example, calling out the climate crisis, or those who are responsible for prolonging the climate crisis, that is. Is there a list of endorsements? I can have a quick skim down Stats for Lefties page. Do recommend this page for anyone who doesn't know them. Sorry, that's going back to the 2021 race. It's not on Stats for Lefties at the moment. I could look into that. We could go into that tomorrow. Yeah, I didn't want to linger on that too long, just wanted to point that out. reminder as well, please do vote in that poll that's in the chat. Just a quick update on that one. It looks as though you're favouring the Green Party at the moment. More on that later. Because we do have to get on to Gaza now. And, got a clip here. There was a demonstration outside the Royal Courts of Justice where I was at myself. What was that, about 4 weeks ago with JSO. This time the demonstration was specifically about Palestine. Even though, well, I guess we were talking about Palestine while we were there as well. But rated by Zara Sultana, MP for Coventry South. Fantastic stuff, and you'll also see someone who needs no introduction there just next to her. So do check this out. She's currently one of the independent candidates as well. Strongly suspect she'll remain that way until the next general election. But she's referring to, at one point, a report that has come out concerning UK arms sales to Israel. And, well, long story short, it proves that we've been lied to by Starmer, David Lammy, and so on. But I'll get onto that after this great speech from Zara Sultana, the Keir Starmer harmer.
Without the activists, without the lawyers, without every single person who's organising in their workplaces, who's marching in London every single month to show that this country will not be silent when its government continues to facilitate genocide. Every F-35 is built in this country, 15% of it. Without that active support, those jets, those lethal fighter jets, would not fly in the skies, dropping 2,000-pound bombs, destroying Palestinian lives, cities, universities, healthcare infrastructure, and we have a role to play, every single one of us, to stop genocide. And when people say, you know, why are you speaking up? Because nothing is more important than stopping genocide. No one's political career, nothing comes before stopping more lives from being destroyed, from more cities being absolutely flattened. And you think that a Prime Minister who's a human rights lawyer would know better, but I can tell you that is categorically untrue. Parliament has been misled by David Lammy, by Keir Starmer, who have told us that the weapons that are going to Israel are for defensive purposes, that F-35s are not directly going. A new report shows that they have lied, and it's on all of us in Parliament and in the streets and in our communities to hold this government to account. We did it with the Tories. We have to do it when a Labour government that should know better, doesn't know better. And thank you so much for everything that you do, Solidarity. Without
Yeah, Zara Sultana there. Of course, any time this has come up in Parliament, people like David Lammy have tried to brush it off. Apologies about the sound quality there. Hope you could follow that with the subtitles as well. So Corbyn's certainly been on it. I'm pretty sure that Zara Sultana would have been in the House of Commons at the same time as well. But really calling it out in Parliament, calling it out in front of the Royal Courts of Justice, on the streets. And I don't, well, yeah, it's for the birds, I guess. But if she was still in Labour, I don't think the fact that she's so young should put her off having a shot at the leadership. Or it shouldn't have done. Who knows? But no, I think it's far too compromised. Believe me, if I thought there was any hope of restoring it to its democratic socialist values, I'd still be there. I'd be trying to fight from within, I really would. But, you know, don't have decades and decades to wait. Yeah, when it's done, it's done. And I think the Labour Party's definitely done. So this report, let's take a look at this. It's, yeah. The numbers are staggering. Fortunately, it's not too shocking because, as Sarah mentioned there, we've been shouting about the F-35 fighter jets, for example, for some time now. But it isn't just the F-35s, the true scale of this, as it was with the clip we saw yesterday about the sorties and spy plane flights over Gaza.
A new report has revealed for the first time the scale of UK arms exports to Israel. Using data from the Israel Tax Authority, it concludes that the British Foreign Secretary appears to have misled Parliament and the public about arms shipments to Israel. Sonia Gallego has more from London.
And just remember, this isn't in some TV interview, whatever, where obviously politicians do lie all the time. This is in Parliament, and there are procedures for people who attempt to mislead Parliament, who tell lies. Fortunately, part of that procedure is you cannot stand up and directly use the word liar or call somebody a liar in Parliament, in speaking through the Speaker of the House, of course, or Deputy Speaker, whomever it may be. But this is important because this is supposed to be our seat of democracy. It's supposed to, you know, I'm talking about how it should be more than how it is practically, if you know what I mean. But it's supposed to be an untainted place, obviously, where lies are clamped down on. And this is going back for quite some time now. And there would be absolutely no way that what is in the details of this report wouldn't be known by the Foreign Secretary or the Prime Minister. That would be undeniable.
A report released on Wednesday analysing trade data has purported that UK firms are still exporting thousands of military items to Israel, and that it includes munition parts.
Thousands. Not just a few. Oh yeah, we do some button covers on some of the F-35 parts, or we sent them some pairs of socks or clasps, clips for the helmets. Thousands upon thousands of parts, and we're talking about armaments here, people. We're talking about real arms, not just miscellaneous paraphernalia, or whatever you might want to say. But that's serious. Thousands and thousands. And they've been saying none. Oh, we've taken care of it now. We've stopped all arms sales to Israel. Not zero. It's not like one or two sneaking through. Thousands. So there has been a cover-up. That's the only way that you can put it. This had to have been known by the Home Secretary. This had to have been known by the Prime Minister, as I just said. And this isn't just a couple of things trying to get swept under the rug. This is clearly intended.
The report stated that those exports took place after the UK government instituted the ban of 30 arms export licenses to Israel over concerns that it would be used in contravention of international humanitarian law.
And it is, and it will be, and if real justice is done, we all know that this puts us on the wrong side of history morally, puts us on the wrong side of the law here in the present as well. This isn't the kind of thing that we want done in our name. This is obviously something that we scream on the streets, but this, has to stop. It's got to stop now. It's absolutely horrific. The absolutely worst things that you can imagine in occupation are happening right now. And we're contributing to it. And of course, just to rub salt in the wounds, David Lammy is the sort of person now who would assure you that he's trying to do everything he can to stop the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. Now it's all laid bare. And I believe that this story is more important, although we have discussed it this evening, it's more important than that, this house fire thing, as Starmer's or the few other headlines. This is huge. This is huge. This is on the same scale. This is like Chilcot level stuff, you know what I mean? But it's not in the mainstream media. This is off of Al Jazeera.
And that's led some politicians to believe that the UK government may have misled Parliament over the details of those arms export licence bans.
We actually could glean more about what the UK is sending to Israel from Israeli data than from UK data. This is really shocking. As members of the British public and as people that are constituents, it's important for us to know what our government is sending, and the fact that they are so opaque and everything is shrouded in secrecy is a real concern for us as members of the public.
That came from the real world, but it's an Al Jazeera report. Shockingly bad. Shockingly bad. Free Palestine. Of course, can we get some flags and watermelons in the chat there, people? Just one final bit quickly on Gaza. There was, of course, that hostage release yesterday. An IDF soldier who was taken hostage in 2023 was released. Quite a few people on social media have been pointing out that he's actually put on weight. Since he was taken hostage. But Israel will try and have you believe that Hamas starved the hostages, instead of just, shelling them themselves. It was also quite disturbing to see him being welcomed back to he's got dual citizenship, I should point out, between the United States and Israel, but being welcomed back, seen as prior to being taken hostage, he was probably culpable of being an international war criminal himself. Gary Garner, thanks for joining us in the chat. How are you brewing tonight? And I'd just back to that list of thousands of items. I'd certainly be interested in seeing a fully comprehensive list of those as well. Okay, people, let's try and raise our spirits after that. And we've got the latest volume for the Brews at 10, the album. Just in case you're not a long-term viewer, this is a series in which, once I hear your puns, your song and artists change to a tea-based title. You'll see a few examples here in this little infomercial that comes out with every volume.
Do you like a hot tasty beverage with your music? Then my left eye has got a treat for your ears. The Brews at 10, the album. All your favourite beverage-based hits from the 1960s to now, all in one place.
Volume 5 is now available, featuring Brew Got It, Roy Orbison, Tea for One, Led Zeppelin, I Want Brew, Tea So Heavy, The Beatles, No Limits, Tea Unlimited, Brew on My Sunshine, Johnny Cash, plus many more. Order now.
Okay, people, that was volume 6. Those clips come with a bit of a dose of irony themselves, in the sense I've managed to work out via trial and error and a few other things that at the end of that clip, where you saw the slight technical error, that's the one that's actually causing one of the issues with the microphone. Every time I play one of the Brews at 10 volumes, the mic immediately cuts off. I have to sort of get it going again. That's why there's always a bit of a pause, a bit of a gap, if you noticed. Yes, I'll keep those contributions coming in. I see we've had some already tonight. You were on fire yesterday. I've got quite a long list, but no, do keep them coming. The more the merrier. That's going to be a weekly feature. They come out on Mondays, by the way, so get your suggestions in. They generally feature more or less in every live stream. They are exclusive to live streams. Oh, but I have created a Pat McFadden Experience playlist. I don't know if any of you've noticed. If you've not seen all of those, please do go through the Pat McFadden Experience playlist, where the Duchy of Lancaster interviews other political figures. It's a parody. There's some homegrown impersonations, whatever you want to call them. Doc, how you brewing? Yeah, it's a technicality, you see. It's the price I pay. I just think it's pretty fitting with the way that the Brews at 10, the album clip, ends with the Howard Stern thing. Okay people, gonna get towards the end of the stream now. Please do stick around though, because I do like to raid and redirect into other left-leaning channels. But before we do that, yeah, it's done it again. It knows I've been talking about it, so the mic cuts out when I'm scorning it. It's getting its revenge. Thanks a lot to all the members on the channel. I just wanted to say thanks again as we come up towards the end of the stream. Stick around though, could be raiding into other left-leaning content providers. Thanks for those gifted memberships on tonight's stream as well. It's taken us up to 89. That's amazing. Thank you very much. Have you hit the thumbs up button, people? I'm sure that if you haven't already, you're about to, as well as share a link to this stream across your social media, and you can give us a follow there on Blue Sky at MyLeftEyeUK, also on Twitter and Mastodon. Okay, my left eye's going to see who's around. Sorry, the chat was lagging now and it's catching up very quickly. There's just a Navara scheduled and the same Rathbone one that was scheduled yesterday. Actually, let's see, has the date for that changed? So that, what was it? No, it's still bizarrely scheduled for the 27th at 6:53 specifically, so there won't be a raid on the channel. You've still got a few months to fill in the poll if you've not done that yet before I announce the results. Oh, it was from last May, was it? Let me have a look. Why is it still up there then? Because surely when... Well, I don't know, because I've never scheduled a stream and then not done one, I guess. But I'm open to suggestions as well. Let's take a look, see. Yeah, you're right, it was May last year. So, okay. It's a time machine. You click the button and go back and warn them about Trump. Oh yeah, he'll never win a second. People aren't going to fall for that again, are they? Okay, it doesn't look like we've got a raid then. But I will give a shout out to Helen at No Justice, MTG, and Kevin Logan at Kevin Logan for recent raids into the channel. Okay, people, I hereby declare the poll is closed, and it's quite a comprehensive victory there. Most of you, 61%, I think it'll be the Greens. Second place, 27%, the total number of independents, and Workers' Party of Britain, 11%. Thanks a lot for your votes. I think it could be a close one when we get there. Although watch one of them run away with it now, and one of you will pull that clip up. I'll have to make a note to myself. Alright, yeah, so that just about does it for the poll, and that just about does it for tonight's stream. Everybody, thanks a lot for joining me here on Tuesdays, Brews at 10. PMQs tomorrow, of course. Do join me then, and for another game of Keith's catchphrases. So I hope you'll be with us. Now, whatever you're doing with your evening though, take care everybody. My Lefty, I'll be seeing you soon. Free Palestine and power to the people.